Fire
away.
Fire away, Ricochet. We're already recording.
Yeah, speaking of Ricochet. Perfect.
Tonight. Is he still Ricochet?
Yeah, he is.
So he owns that.
Yeah. I have to see if he's wrestling. I don't actually know if he is.
He won't be.
I feel like he has to be, at least on one of
So
the
he
two
will be.
cards. Yeah.
Oh, because it's Grand Slam.
Yeah, so they're doing Dynamite and Collision. I haven't followed.
Okay. Oh, my mic is
AEW.
moving. You see this? Is it
There
falling?
it goes. There's a ghost in my Mike Pilgrim. We haven't had any alcohols today. This is just sober me being stupid. Cut your throat, Halle Berry, because you're a dirty, dirty girl. I mean, what? She was totally not dirty at all in that. She had children. Naughty girl.
You got to make sure we include some of that in the
Oh,
intro.
it's gonna be in there.
If it's not all of this.
It's gonna be in there like swimwear. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Bros, Brews and the Basement podcast. If you're joining us, this is episode 17, I believe.
17.
And
who would have thunk?
yeah, who would have thunk 17 episodes later, we finally, as of episode 16, mastered the green screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah. But here we are, another day, another dollar, and another beer for us to drink / recommend for you guys. If you've listened to the podcast before, you know that we talk about pretty much anything and everything, we feel like.
Yeah.
And we do a Beer of the Week segment, which I feel like we'll do it, get it
Hammer
out of
it
the
out.
way. Yeah. So,
So today we have Jack Abbey's Craft Lagers, and this is Copper Legend Oktoberfest.
Yum.
Quick Google search let us know they established in 2011 in Framingham, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is just north of here.
Yep. Not very far at all.
Not entirely sure where Framingham is in the state.
Yeah, me either,
but
actually.
I just know it's north of here, where the rest of the state is.
Yeah. We love a good Oktoberfest.
And the other nice thing about that is if you have a Whole Foods near you, this comes in a 4-pack. It's $10. Today it was $1 off, so I got it for $9.49, which is nice because usually 4-packs tend to go for like $18 to $20. I usually stay away from 4-packs because of that. The 4-packs tend to be pretty expensive, but this was a 4-pack for $9.50. It's, I think, 5.7% alcohol content.
Not too bad at all.
So nothing too heavy. Here in the Northeast, we're starting to cool down already pretty significantly.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're starting to get that cool weather.
Right,
That fall,
so
crisp chill.
the Oktoberfest with the crisp air, it's kind of like hoodie season.
Yep. Wore it yesterday.
Outdoor fire pit season with the Oktoberfest. We have the tall cans too, which is nice. And we're gonna get right into this. So Jack's Abbey Oktoberfest Lager, Framingham, Massachusetts.
Ooh,
That was nice. We very much also enjoy that nothing foamed over or blew up.
yes, if you check out some of our previous videos, you will know there's been volcanic eruptions all over the pool table here.
You still have a can
I do.
in your refrigerator that they exploded.
What was it, Lucky Sevens, right? Or something like that?
And also, I think the dank. It was
the dank. Yeah.
We hope, no matter what, we could have handled that with, white gloves like the Stanley Cup, and they just exploded with the way they were canned. Something about them.
Something was not.
Jack's Abbey, Oktoberfest Lager.
Cheers. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, you have a cold one as well here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's see. Oh, yeah.
I
That's
can't
very
not help but
nice.
think of Kevin Malone every time. I'm just like, I knew it. I knew you were going to say that. I mean,
it's very nice.
it's good.
It's a very nice Oktoberfest. Very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
See, like, I'm just picturing a hoodie.
Yeah.
Me, I wear zipper-up hoodies. I'm always a big zipper-up hoodie. I know you
I'm more
have
of
them, but
I have them,
don't really
yeah.
wear them too much.
Actually, one of the only ones I have is a Parkway Drive one.
I know.
Yeah. I have a Silverstein
I've seen it
one.
on my my hooks
Yeah.
a number of times.
Yeah, I do. I last night I wore the Hands Like Houses hoodie that I have. The only one
Feet
that
Like
I have.
Condos. Shout out
Yeah.
to Tommy.
We're going to tag you. He's got the tube of you, right?
So, I don't know how you feel about Oktoberfest. I love them.
I mean, I definitely
I
love
love
Oktoberfest as well.
Oktoberfest. Now, you factor in price point.
Oh boy, we're getting into a whole new slew of.
Well, yeah, because you know what? 4-packs are usually $10 more. You factor in price point, the fact that it's only 5.5% or 5.7%, so you can have it and not have to worry about driving home. Taste, very good. Very good. Super smooth. I would love to be able to read what's actually in it. I'm not sure that there's anything on here that says that.
Yeah.
Nope, that's
It
just
goes down
Surgeon's
smooth though. That's
General.
for sure.
Super smooth, great tasting, not high in alcohol content, and great price point. I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Wow.
Maybe a 9.
Wow. You feel very passionately.
I really like it. Well, the thing is, I don't like when people make beers and they make it like I said to you earlier. It's 12%. We're going to make it in a 4-pack, and the 4-pack's $28. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
What's the point?
There's no need.
This is a 4-pack. It's $10 at Whole Foods. I haven't seen their stuff anywhere else, so that's why, I keep saying Whole Foods. $10 at Whole Foods, and it's a 4-pack of beer, $2.50 each for 5%, and it's tall cans. It's an 8.5, 9 for me.
Nice.
For sure. I would drink this repeatedly.
I was gonna go with my gut feeling, and that is a 8.
Okay.
Still a solid.
That's a great score.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's still a great score. I mean, we haven't had too many seasonal beers on the podcast here since we've kind of only been really together. I think during the summertime /
right.
Maybe
well,
the spring.
I
as
know
well.
last year I said I wanted to do like horror themed beers.
There's not that many.
Not in our area.
Yeah.
Like I found plenty, but they were all out of state, probably out of region as well.
Yeah.
And most of those smaller breweries did not distribute to our area.
Yeah, we do still have to hit that horror place, the horror brewery in Farmingdale.
Oh, I forgot what it's called.
Yeah. It eludes me as well, but we do have to hit that one up. But yeah, solid score all around, I would say, for an Oktoberfest.
Great beer.
It's funny because I went shopping earlier and bought beer also, which of course I bought the Sam Oktoberfest, and then Dylan was like, "Oh, I got beer for the the videos today." And it ended up being an Oktoberfest. So I was just like, we're on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time of year.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's starting to get crispy outside.
It just makes sense,
That fall crisp air, like you said earlier, there's something about when it's cold out where you can either drink a nice cold Oktoberfest or you go outside with a blazing hot coffee and just sit outside when it's like 58 degrees in the morning.
I do love that as well.
Yeah,
love
that's
me a
very
good cup
nice.
of coffee. Yeah, we went to see Never Let Go yesterday and figured it's a little chilly out there. We got to put the hoodie on and enjoy being bundled up in the theater.
Well, good thing you enjoyed being bundled up since I heard the movie was
Yeah, it was very meh. Usually ambiguity doesn't bother me, but there was just way too much of it and unanswered questions for me to enjoy.
Halle Berry being in like a thriller. It was a thriller, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was kind of like a horror thriller.
Kim said?
Yeah. But not for me. Obviously check it out if you If you like horror movies and you like Halle Berry.
I don't know much
She's
of
great.
her filmography, but the last thing I can remember her being in that like left me uneasy. Wasn't she in Monsters Ball with Billy Bob?
Yep. She
That-
was.
That movie, pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it was.
And it came out. I don't remember when it came out, but I remember being young enough to watch it and being like, I don't understand what's going on.
I want to say 2004.
I was gonna say 1, and it is 1. I know that
God damn,
sounds
that's
like
so long ago.
I know that sounds like bullshit. Like, oh, I was gonna say 2001, and it is 2001.
2001.
But I just remember being very young and watching it on, probably HBO or some shit like
yeah,
that.
I was gonna say back when DVDs were a thing.
Yeah, and
I had the DVD for Monsters Ball. Probably still do somewhere over there.
Yeah, who is in this? That looked.
Oh,
like,
you know who's in that?
that looked
Fucking
like
P
Peter
Diddy.
Boyle.
P Diddy's in
Is-
that. I'm pretty sure. Scroll over.
Okay, we have Halle Berry, Billy Bob, Heath Ledger, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think Heath Ledger kills himself in this. Now that I think about it,
Yeah, I actually don't really remember the
Someone-
movie very well.
One of the sons of Billy Bob Thornton, I
Keep
think,
scrolling.
commits
I
suicide.
could have swore P Diddy. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
oh,
he
he is.
is. There he is.
Wow, what a
Man.
segue into something we didn't even say we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
On to P Diddy, huh?
yeah,
Since we
well,
were talking about Monsters Ball.
yeah,
and he
wow.
was- yeah.
What a memory, because I never would have remembered P. Diddy was in that. Oh,
Yeah.
but Peter Boyle is in it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I just remember I remember one scene where, P Diddy was in jail, I think, which
Well.
is, really appropriate.
So, what? I mean, this is,
Uh,
it's so funny because half of me is like, this is some wild shit. And the other half of me is like, is it that crazy? Is
yeah.
it that crazy?
No, it's
that
not.
all this has been happening and it's just been overlooked
all this time.
this whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's always the case. A part of you always wants to be like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe that. But deep down, though, when you think about it, you're like,
Right.
we've seen crazier things. It
Oh, yeah.
pretty much tracks with just, celebrities and the crazy shit that they can be involved with that
Yeah.
they just get away with.
I mean, I found it super interesting that they immediately put him on suicide watch.
Oh, yeah, immediately because
Right.
they didn't want to Epstein
Well, he was on suicide watch when he,
killed
himself.
Yeah.
right? And the thing is, P. Diddy, I'm assuming is a billionaire, I think. If not a billionaire, then damn close.
Yeah.
He knows a lot of powerful people.
I mean, how long has he been in the industry and been,
Right.
just
So-
constantly crushing
So
things?
the question I'm asking is it someone who's more powerful trying to take him down?
I mean, it could be to silence him. If we're getting into the
Right.
conspiracy
If you want
theory
to start,
side of
right, which I
things.
feel like you have to at this point. Or is it going to be someone who's more powerful that knows he knows shit that's going to try to silence him? Because, listen, Epstein's on suicide watch, kills himself on suicide watch, hypothetically, kills himself on suicide watch, or dies on suicide watch.
Yeah,
No investigations came of it.
seems
And
awfully
it's
convenient.
simply just
But here-
ended.
But here we are, P Diddy still
And now
alive.
P. Diddy's going through it.
Yeah, I mean,
Seemingly like he's a piece of shit. That's what it looks like.
when they had first shown the the infamous hotel video of him
Yeah.
beating the ever living shit out of his girlfriend,
Oh, yeah.
and then
that was, what was that, last year at this point?
I mean, that
Something
was.
like
I remember
that.
seeing
That
that
was
on
rough.
the news and just being like, "Wow,
Yeah, that was
is-
rough.
That's brutal."
So,
yeah,
not seemingly a piece of shit,
yeah.
but a
What-
piece of shit with money who's crossed paths with a lot of people.
So what is the what are the charges? That
Sex
he's-
trafficking and
okay.
racketeering.
Okay, racketeering. Because I knew
So,
sex trafficking was one of the
Here's
things,
the thing,
but
and it's the same shit that they got the mafia on, racketeering. So racketeering is basically using your criminal enterprise to make money, and that's just like I feel like it's the broad term they throw at you,
Probably.
where they're just going to be like, listen, all this shit, all
This
this
is
way you were
racketeering.
able to make money is racketeering.
Yeah.
Right? It's how they got the mob. They got John Gotti that way, right? And that was when the mob...
Man, he is in a slew of trouble.
That was when the mob, like, John Gotti... I remember when they arrested him, he was like, you think this is going to stick? Or he said something along those lines of like, you think this is going to stick or how long until I get out? Some shit like that. But what he didn't know is they had video and voice recordings and people in the mob flipped and shit like that. But they also had Rico, right? Sons of Anarchy.
Woo.
They also had Rico and racketeering for him as well. So once people flipped and all that, like, racketeering is basically the all-encompassing. That's how I understand it. If you know more than me, please tell me. But he's fucked.
Yeah,
he's
fucked. Definitely doesn't
look good.
You're
fucked when you have $50 million waiting to be like, hey, I got this for bail, and they're like, no.
Nah.
Your money's not good.
Yeah, I mean, didn't he like put up his mansion and shit like that too?
As much as
like
he
everything. Could. Yeah, that's. Ooh, he's in a world of trouble. It's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, this is probably one of the most high-profile cases that's come along
in a
long time for like celebrities.
As long as he is alive for the whole of it, it'll be. I think it's
assuming,
gonna be a
right?
long
Yeah.
thing. I saw this clip, and it was someone from the news asking about, the 1,000 bottles of baby oil or whatever they found.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny? I was playing with online with Heish, and he had mentioned that about the raid or whatever, and they found all that baby oil in his house. So
they asked his lawyer, and his lawyer was like, well, there's a Costco right around the block, so people tend to buy in bulk. And at the end of the day...
It's a lot of baby oil.
Right? That is a lot of bulk. And at the end of the day, that we're talking about consenting adults here.
Obscene amount of baby oil.
So the lawyer saying in an interview that they're talking about consenting adults. That's telling you that they're not disputing any of the sex that took place or any of that shit.
But it was
They're
consented.
saying it took place, but everyone was in agreement and consented.
Sure.
And wanted to.
Sure.
So time will tell, my friend.
Yeah, prove that on the stand. That's what the
Well, that's the good the positive thing is, for them at least, the burden of proof is on the prosecution, not on the defense. The defense just has to put in that little seed of doubt. If there's any kind of deniability, if they can do that, that's how they win. The burden of proof is on the prosecution.
We shall see how it plays out, but
there has to be
very interesting.
No doubt, Gwen Stefani.
Man, yeah, that was a great segue though into the PD.
Yeah, accidental.
Yeah.
Accidental.
Yeah, my mind was going to since we had mentioned like the last I guess realm of things that Halle Berry was in. I was like thinking Gothica.
Yeah,
that was like
I had no clue.
Horror thriller.
Nope, never heard of that.
I think that was
before.
after Monsters Ball though.
Oh well,
yeah.
Monsters Ball's 23 years ago. At
yeah,
this point.
Yeah. I mean, the other one was like not too far after, but still probably like 5 or 6 years afterwards. So.
Monsters Ball.
Whew, man, God, P. Diddy.
So if you want to go from one billionaire scumbag to another,
then we clearly need to talk about Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
So there's a new doc coming out. I don't know who did it. Do you know who did it?
Actually, I don't know.
But I didn't know there was a new doc coming out, and then I see this statement from Vince.
I kept seeing things, just online about it.
Where Vince says that he agreed to participate in a documentary about himself, but basically said that the documentary focuses on Mr. McMahon, the character from WWF, over Vince McMahon, the person.
Yeah.
Now, I also saw some highlights of
So it's on
people. I saw, not of the documentary, of people posting some of the wild shit
that he did.
WWF used to do.
Oh. Well, I mean, there's been a slew
saying,
of that.
And saying, like, this is who Vince McMahon is. Now, I don't know if that's who he is.
Like the Kiss My Ass Club?
Right. Well, remember, Vince McMahon, well, scratch that. WWF and WWE, the company, always wanted to capitalize on controversy.
Yeah.
So, even after 9/11, they debuted a character. Do you remember that character's name?
Sure.
I know you do.
Muhammad Hassan.
So they debuted Muhammad Hassan right after 9/11, and he was going to be a massive heel. He was going to be looked at as the terrorist that everyone hated, that had his hand in the 9/11, tragedy.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So they absolutely tried to jump on anything and everything possible that can get headlines and traction and people reacting to it. So when I see highlights of stuff that the company and WWE and F did, and people being like, this is who Vince McMahon is, it's like, I don't know if that's Vince McMahon the person or if that's the company and people just trying to get traction. Because if you're willing to try and use 9/11 to capitalize on shit, then you're willing to use anything. I'm not saying it's right or
I mean,
it's
they've done
wrong.
plenty of stuff to push the envelope.
They've always pushed the envelope.
Like when they killed Mr. McMahon.
Especially that in that time. They were doing crazy stuff. There is video evidence of Vince McMahon using the N-word. We've all seen that highlight video. Right? Now, is that Vince McMahon the person or Mr. McMahon the character?
Yeah.
Right? I guess that's the line of demarcation that you have to draw. One syllable.
Who is it? Who is it?
So, it seems the documentary was focusing on Mr. McMahon, the WWF character, and saying that is who Vince McMahon was. And Vince was like, no, they're different people. Depends how you feel.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, the things that he's been accused of and everything seems to line up perfectly with the character because,
right.
I mean, if you go back and look at the character, I mean, he was really just
I feel
not
like,
great.
I feel like you could easily say, like, the character Mr. McMahon is an exaggerated version
of himself.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who pissed himself on a Raw.
He died.
Do you remember that?
He died. I mean, I don't remember the specific.
I remember him pissing himself.
Scenario.
He's literally standing there. He's in his like brown suit, and all of a sudden his pants just are visibly wet. Like if he's actually peeing himself, there it's like the fact that he was even able to pee on cue,
on
like
command.
that is crazy.
Yeah. I guess stage fright, anxiety.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you got that. There's no shortage of things if you know Vince McMahon, of the things he's done on Raw. I mean, obviously, I brought up the fact that they killed him in the limo explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Over the top. The whole, not that he was a part of this, but like the Brian Pillman segment where he had the gun. I mean, they've done multiple things to push the envelope and had to apologize to USA Network and just publicly to everybody saying like, all right, we went too far, pushing the storyline, trying to get the viewership and entertain all the fans, HLA, which we talked about a little bit earlier on,
right.
Vince McMahon getting a lap dance basically from Stacy Keibler and,
right.
and all these different things.
And then Rikishi shoving his ass in his face when he thought it was going to be Tori Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Stacy Keibler?
It might have been Stacy Keibler, yeah.
Where he thought it's going to be Stacy Keibler. He gets super excited, and then it's Rikishi.
Yeah. And then, like I said before, the Kiss My Ass Club, right? Another thing where it's just like...
Where people had to kiss his ass on TV.
Literally. Just degrading
And again, they could say it was for
the company.
television.
It was just for the product, but
But the more you hear former WWE and F superstars interviewed years later, and they talk about what they had to do, usually the women, like they all talk about like the bra and panties matches and like the evening gown matches. And I mean, we can even go back to fucking, I don't remember the exact pay-per-view, but the cat, I want to say it was SummerSlam where she took her top off.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like that was after like a fucking like mud wrestling match or some shit.
Yep.
And then I'll never forget, I showed Kim a highlight of WWF it's the late 90s. And I want to say it was the cat again. And she has no shirt on, and she's holding 2 water bottles that are covering her boobs. And it's like, everyone knows what's behind the water bottles, but they're being covered. And of course, the camera's like zoomed in right on the water bottles. And I was like, this is what I watched when I was 10.
That's what drew the people in. I mean, one of many things.
So it's like, sure, Mr. McMahon, the character, was despicable, but Vince McMahon, the businessman, was all right with showing a lot of very, very questionable shit. But
it's
also their audience at the time, while granted,
the demographic, right? Yeah.
A lot of the audience was people like me and you, where we were 9, 10, 11. A lot of his demographic were young adult males, so he was like, sex is gonna sell.
Yep. I mean, it's not far-fetched even now, right? Sex sells.
Right. I mean, at that time, most of they called them, were they even divas yet in the late 90s, early 2000s? Or were they, I don't even know that they were divas yet.
I don't think so.
A lot of them were.
And maybe like early 2000s into mid.
A lot of them did Playboys.
Yeah. That was the thing back then. It was like, Sable and
Sable, Tori. I don't know that Stacy was ever.
No, she wasn't. Christy Hemme, who was like I forgot what was it, the Divas, or maybe that was when the Divas came about.
Maybe.
I think she was like the winner.
But there were a handful of women from that time that did Playboy. And I don't know that the ones that did Playboy specifically wanted to or didn't want to. I think like they were okay with it. But still, when they talk about their wrestling career, a lot of them say they wish they could have actually wrestled more.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it feels like a lot of the time in WWE/WWF, you had a very specific role to play.
Yeah.
Some people, it was for wrestling. And other people, it was for purely entertainment, and unfortunately, some of them, that's the category they fell under, was entertainment. It's like, oh, you're, to him, you were just a beautiful body to look at, and that's how you were, that's how you were used. You were in Playboy, you were in bra and panties matches, even for the men sometimes, especially nowadays, you see them, they're just there for the comedic factor. They're not there to wrestle, really, unless they're jobbing out to up-and-comers.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's questionable. It's really questionable. And I get that he put out the statement he put out trying to draw that line in the sand where it's like, no, it's
not the same person.
This is Mr. McMahon and this is Vince.
There's a lot of overlap, I think.
It might not be, but I agree with you 100%. There is tons of overlap.
Yeah. So it's a documentary series put out by Netflix.
Which I do not have a login.
Actually, yeah, me either. But at some point, I will.
Too much money.
I will watch it because I think it will be an interesting watch, as well as Raw will be going to Netflix in 2025 as of January, I believe.
Yeah, well,
so
I have means.
Yeah, we can find other ways around that, but But yeah, just something that we thought would be interesting to talk about, especially considering the whole P Diddy thing, the perfect transition.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because when I look back at wrestling from when we were kids, I mean, the best heel was Mr. McMahon. He was a great heel. You even think of the people that were mostly the guys, right? You think of Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that you think of, and it's like, all right, Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon, like
the ultimate boss
that
feud.
is one of the best feuds from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Because it carried multiple years, multiple factions.
The ultimate fuck you to your boss, right?
Stone Cold hitting him with a bedpan in the head in the hospital, was it Stone Cold or The Rock that filled up his Corvette with cement? Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and the windows breaking and everything.
Was that Stone Cold?
I think it was
Stone Cold.
I'm pretty sure
right?
it was.
Like, there's so many epic moments, and he was such a great heel, and to find out he's an absolute scumbag these years later is not surprising.
It is one of those things where you're like, wow, but like I'm not that surprised. Deep down you're like, well, I get it, because I've watched wrestling for X amount of years, and honestly, even if you didn't, you see some highlights and you're like, okay, you go on TikTok nowadays and you could find something real easily of something proving that Vince McMahon was shitty in his wrestling days. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough out there for celebrities. Can't hide. Everything's under a microscope and in front of the camera. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is,
And even the things that are not behind, in front of the camera and they're behind the scenes, they still get talked about.
Oh, for sure.
Him basically hoeing out the women to wrestlers.
Like
the
Dark Side of the Ring stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
those lawsuits, and I feel like we haven't heard anything of that lawsuit in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, it came out, it was a big deal. Vince disappears for a little bit.
Which, makes sense. You should.
Right.
You should disappear.
And then it's getting to the point where WWE is going to sell to Endeavor to become TKO.
Yep.
He comes back. Then there's another controversy. He has to sell all his stock in TKO and then finally disappear, hopefully for good.
We can only hope. I think WWE's in better hands now with Triple H running the show pretty much.
It seems they've had a little bit better booking, but I've been
also doing
detached.
A lot of European and tours and stuff like that. They're doing pay-per-views overseas now. They're supposedly they're selling out these record-breaking arena shows and pay-per-views and stuff like that. So I mean, it seems like they're doing great.
They're gonna bring a WrestleMania overseas too eventually. There's gonna be too much money not to.
Yeah.
But, hopefully Vince stays away.
We can only hope. Hopefully he's not going to try to take over AEW.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Shad, I think it's Shad Khan, Tony's dad, has more money than he does, so I think they're good.
I know they had pictures of the Shane meeting with Tony
I saw
and
that.
everything.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, people can speculate all they want about that. Whether it's in a wrestling capacity or otherwise, who's to say? But so far, we haven't seen anything come of it. So
could have just been a meeting.
Yeah, for all we know. That's it. That's all it was. A one and done. Speaking of AEW, though, going to AEW Grand Slam tonight, so I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah.
Good thing you're off tomorrow. You're going to be there until 1 a.m.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'm going to be sleeping for like 4 hours by the time you get home.
I haven't even really sat down and looked at the card. I did save it earlier though on my phone, so let's take a look real quick and see what we got. So the big match of the night, which I can only assume is going to be on Dynamite, is Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. By the way, he's the champion now.
Okay.
After all this time being in AEW.
With braids?
Yep, with braids.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and the big thing was like, oh, if he's cleared to wrestle. I love how that's always the stipulation. Like, oh, well, maybe he won't wrestle. Like, he's gonna fucking wrestle. Yeah, okay. Like,
main event.
Could you imagine? Like, you
main
get to the show and
event
they're like,
of Grand
well, he's
Slam.
actually not wrestling. So
You know what? He's got a hangnail.
yeah, he can't manage. But so I didn't know who Nigel McGuinness was. Do you
No.
have any idea? So apparently,
I know the name, but I don't know
in
anything about
the
him.
vignettes and promos. So him and Bryan Danielson were pretty much like in the indie scene at the same time, and were basically the same wrestler. They basically like kind of had like this big rivalry back and forth to see like who would be the biggest wrestler out of the two of them. And I guess Nigel McGuinness suffered some kind of injury and was sidelined for a number of years, much like Daniel. I keep calling him Daniel Bryan because I'm thinking of WWE as I'm saying he was sidelined for many years. But now he's cleared to wrestle again, and he's basically trying to, prove that he should have been the top dog in that conversation. You also have Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin.
Number one contender.
Should be a solid match.
Who's that in Moxley's corner?
I don't know. I don't know her name. I'm not familiar with her.
Okay.
It's somebody who's just in AEW. Then you have Mariah May, who's the champ, I guess, over there for the women's division, versus Yuka Sakazaki.
Okay.
Don't know her. I did see Mariah May wrestle though before. She's pretty good. Then you have the Young Bucks versus Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher.
I'm always down for some Will Ospreay.
Yeah, Will Ospreay is amazing, and
Yeah.
we went to the Forbidden Door pay-per-view and got to see Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland in the main event. Did not disappoint whatsoever.
I heard very, 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 very good things about Mr. Swerve.
Yeah, he's great. And honestly,
Nasty.
I don't know if you had seen or heard about the feud he had with Hangman Page.
No.
So they cut like this sick-ass promo where Hangman Page burned down Swerve Strickland's like childhood home.
Okay.
And was just literally sitting outside in like a recliner chair drinking a beer. Or not drinking a beer, but drinking like a mixed drink, watching it burn.
Okay.
Which I thought was just such a cool visual for, any kind of like wrestling promo. Anyway, speaking of him, his manager's giving an update about Swerve Strickland.
Okay.
Then you got the Learning Tree. I don't know who that guy is.
That's Jericho.
You got Jericho, Bill Morrissey or Big Bill, whatever.
Which is former Big Cass.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who the other guy is, but I have seen him. It doesn't say, unfortunately. And then you have the Conglomeration, which is one of the Briscoes. I forget which one it is because the other brother died, unfortunately. And then you have Kyle O'Reilly and you have Orange Cassidy. Should be a solid match. Then you got Hangman Page wrestling in another gimmick match against Jeff Jarrett in a lumberjack strap match.
Sure.
Right? Like Jeff Jarrett. Still wrestling.
Why?
After all these years, good old Jeff Jarrett. Then you got Hook versus Roderick Strong for the FTW title. Should be a pretty solid match. Jack Perry, TNT Championship Open Challenge match.
I'll be honest, I thought he was still suspended.
He's been back for a little bit now. He's been I feel
like he was
with the Elite.
suspended indefinitely for like 2 years.
Yeah, he was out for a while. He was definitely on the shit list for for AEW. Then you got the AEW Continental Championship Eliminator, which I don't know what that is. I'm sure it's something that's been going on.
It's got to be a tournament.
Yeah, so you got Sammy Guevara versus Okada, which is another, big match. Yeah. Saraya versus Jamie Hayter in a Saraya Rules match, which I don't know what the, I don't know what her stipulation is. And then the final match, you got Hologram versus the Beast Maritos.
Okay.
I don't know who that is either. Okay. Yeah.
So
Looks like a solid double card, you know.
Soraya being the former Paige, right?
Yeah, exactly. Seems like it should be a pretty solid card. Definitely not as stacked as Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door was just so good. Although I heard that the Swerve Strickland and Adam Hangman Page match though was insane. They were I know they were in a cage. There were cinder blocks involved, and they were stapling each other at one point. And you could literally see the staples in each other's chests. It was pretty crazy.
How long has Adam Cole been out?
Oh, gosh. It's been a while. I'm actually surprised that MJF is nowhere on that.
And that was my next question.
Yeah.
Is where's MJF?
He's wrestling, so I don't know why he's not on the card. Maybe he'll make an appearance somehow.
I mean, he's got to.
I feel like, how could you
Arthur
not?
Ashe.
Yeah.
It's essential. I know they like to have UBS Arena be his hometown show because he's not from the city.
Yeah.
And Arthur Ashe is in Queens, but it's Long Island.
Hey, how could you not?
So
yeah, I mean, Adam
MJF
Cole's
will
been out.
have to be there.
He's been out for a while though. I feel like it's been 2+ months.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching and probably even talking to you the last time about it a little bit on the podcast about how he broke his foot jumping off the stage. Yeah, that seems like forever ago.
That's just one of those unfortunate things.
Yeah, just a freak thing. And even Britt Baker came back, but before then. She wrestled against Mercedes Moné, and I'm pretty sure she lost. She didn't. I mean, I didn't watch too much of Britt Baker wrestling, but based on what I had seen, she definitely looked a little rusty. I feel like it just.
All right. I mean, if it's her first match back in a while, it was probably going to be a little rusty.
Yeah.
And they're only doing the televised dates, right? They're not.
I don't think they're
not
doing house shows
and
stuff like. Yeah, I don't think so.
So
At least
if
not that I know.
If that's her true first match back, then.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I know she did like some
is.
stuff, obviously, to promote the match beforehand.
But I mean,
there's interfering. But
it's a lot different than putting a full program together in the ring.
Yeah, I just felt like from what I saw, she looked rusty. Things just didn't look very coordinated like they would be.
Had they wrestled each other before?
I don't think so.
That also.
Yeah, it doesn't help necessarily.
Because I could tell you, I bet you, like today, Jeff Hardy and Edge could get in a ring together and look smooth.
Probably.
Because they spent so much time wrestling each other. Even though they're in different organizations, and I'm pretty sure Edge is still on the shelf.
He is still on the shelf. Yeah.
Those
what a silly bitch.
Off the cage double axe handles usually don't go that well.
Yeah, especially through a table. This is one of the worst spots ever. I just hate that so much. Oh, God. But yeah, I'm definitely very much looking forward to tonight. It's going to be a long, long night. 4 hours of wrestling. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I remember us being at Grand Slam, what was it, 2 years ago, I want to say now?
Yeah, before we knew what we were getting into. It's probably 3.
Could be, yeah. Could be.
We'd have to look. No, it's 3 because
5 hours of wrestling, basically.
It was 3.
Jesus.
And the reason it's 3 is because we still needed to show proof of vaccination again.
Oh,
right?
Jesus Christ.
It's
we
definitely
did.
It's definitely 2020 or 2021. We'd have to look it up. And I remember just being there and looking at someone and being like, somebody here's got COVID.
Yo, yeah, and people definitely
and
laughed
we were all
right
just
next to
laughing.
us. Yeah.
We were all just laughing because somebody had to have it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt about it. Somehow, some way, we didn't get sick.
Yo, you're definitely right, though.
But I remember that.
Yeah.
And then some asshole got hit by a train.
Well, thank God we're not taking the train in there tonight.
Well, I'm not taking the train with you, so you guys would have been fine.
Yeah.
It's only when I'm on the train that someone gets hit.
Yeah, probably. We probably would have just messed up the train transfer at some point, though, which would have been almost as bad, if not worse. So yeah, I don't know.
But so that's AEW. I did want to speak about the Jets.
Oh, okay.
Because We talked about the Jets last year after Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles 4 plays in.
Yeah.
And we can show that clip of me complaining. But the Jets played the Patriots. And they looked like a team.
Whoa.
They played 60 minutes. It's been a long time since I've seen a Jets team play 60 minutes offense, defense, and special teams and just look together.
How does Aaron Rodgers look?
He looked pretty good in this last game. First game he looked rusty, but I mean it's his first live game time in 2 years.
Sure.
Second game, they were up against a tough team, the Titans, but they pulled it out. It didn't look particularly great, but they ended up winning. It also helped that Will Levis on the Titans just makes terrible decisions.
At
and
the end of the day,
a
win's a win. Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
Right. But
a win's a win.
But the Jets look good in Game 3, and it was just nice to see. I have no clue how good they really are because the Patriots might be terrible. They just might be terrible.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that to lessen the impact of what you're trying to say, but I don't think the Patriots are I mean, I don't follow football, which if you watched some of our previous episodes, you would know. But
there's no Bill Belichick.
Yeah, they don't have Tom Brady.
They're not sure that they have a quarterback, at least of the future.
Yeah, they're not
Jacoby
the Patriots.
Brissett.
When you would hear that name, you're like, oh my God, the Patriots are the best.
But the thing is former Jets teams would play teams that were bad and not play a full 60 minutes. So the fact that they were able to put together 60 minutes on the field in all 3 phases was just very nice to watch.
That's good. That's great. It's about time.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers for more than 4 plays.
I mean, I would say the
nice.
Jets are probably better than the Giants, right?
The Giants
seem like trash.
So we thought, it's funny, after the first week, everyone's like, oh, the Vikings aren't going to be good. So when the Vikings beat the shit out of the Giants, it was like, oh, God, the Giants are fucking terrible. And then they go and play the Commanders, and they lose by, I think, 3 points. And it's like, oh, the Commanders beat them. They must be terrible. But then the Vikings are 3-0, and Sam Darnold's playing well. And the Commanders just put it on the Bengals.
Oh, on Monday night?
Yeah, they didn't punt.
Wow.
And Jaden Daniels didn't turn the ball over either. So he scored on every possession.
Jeez.
So the Commanders might not be bad. The Vikings aren't bad. And then the Giants played a decent game against the Browns, which we're pretty sure the Browns are bad if you watch football. So I think there's some question as to how bad the Giants truly are. They're not a good team.
But they're not as bad as
I'm not sure
thinking.
They're as bad as we thought they were since... everyone was expecting the Vikings to not be good, but they seemingly are good.
Well,
but either way,
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But it's good to hear that the Jets are having a good start.
Well,
so far.
2-1. They've played one game where they were all put together, one game where it was rough, but they won, and one game that wasn't great.
Plenty of season left.
So,
right.
They played 3 games. There's 14 games left. Who knows?
Plenty of time for storylines to unravel. Where's that page of the script for that?
Right. That's preseason hockey just started. Heedle got walked off the ice.
Yeah, immediately.
It looked like he was done for the year with the way they were walking him off. But now it sounds like it's nothing major.
He's just being dramatic. He's like.
Yeah,
everybody loves a good comeback
I'm sure
story.
That was it.
Philip Heedle, Player of the Year, the MVP of this season. Can you believe it?
I'm sure that was it.
That's what he was thinking in his head.
We gotta, hopefully the Rangers are just as good this year as they've been, maybe if not better.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, ideally they can finally get it all together, even in the playoffs, and get a run to get to that Stanley Cup.
Yeah, well, like I said, they got to those Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And then everyone had these expectations. And I was like, let's pump the brakes on those expectations. Like, that was a great season. Came up a little short. And then their results got worse. So let's see where they are this year. If they do have a window to win a Stanley Cup, I think it's closer to over than not. You know, because their best players are getting older. So if they're going to win, it needs to be soon. I don't know that they will.
Yeah, I mean, that core
We need to
group,
see what the team is.
that core group has been together for so long now, and they're starting to age out a little bit. So it's
The young guys are now like the guys that should be in their prime.
Yeah. It
And
feels
the guys
like now
that were
or
in
never.
their prime are towards or seemingly getting towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, how long have we been watching Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin now? And, I mean, we got Trocheck, who's been the newest addition, but a solid one, you know.
Really like him.
They've had a solid core of group of people for a while, and it's just a matter of do we get there?
Right.
You know, it's like, is Laff going to put up the numbers he put up last year?
Questionable.
We hope so. Maybe Capo Caco will put up some better numbers this year.
Maybe.
I hope so. Am I expecting it? No, but it would be great if he did.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Hopefully some of the other guys will step it up. And, yeah, maybe we can finally claim Lord Stanley's Cup.
Maybe.
But I'm
I
not
don't have
expecting
high
it.
hopes. Yeah, exactly.
Yep, but I'm not
Exactly.
expecting it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I got, really.
Yeah, that's it for me as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching/listening to the Brews in the Basement podcast, where we always invite you to taste the brew and join the crew.
Nailed it.
See you in the next video, everybody.
See you in the next one.
You already know, but we out.
out.
Enjoy that beverage.
Goodbye.
Boop.